It's just that you too lazy to put something in. But I'm so glad God ain't lazy with us. Because what if he was too lazy to wake you up this morning? What if he's too lazy to put shelter over your head? What if he's too lazy to be able to come to your rescue when you needed rescuing? I'm glad God ain't like some of us. He still shows up even though we don't look up. I wish I had it. He still shows up even though we don't clap. Because it ain't about you. Because if you don't give him the praise, the Bible says the rocks will cry. Am I preaching up in here? Somebody will say amen. Pastor preaching up in here because he has made a call. He said, come unto us, all that are heavy laden. Number two, he said, not only come to us, but then he said, when you come, you ought to lay your burdens down. Touch your neighbor and say, lay your burdens down. Lay your problems down. When you come to church, you ought to lay your burdens down. You ought to lay this and that down. What do? You put it all in his hand. You put this and that in his hand. You say to somebody, I put it all. Touch your neighbor and say, I got to put it all. My bills got to be put in his hand. Touch your neighbor and say, my problems with my relationship got to be put in his hand. Because guess what? If you don't put it in his hand, you'll mess it up in yours. Let me say that again. If you don't put it in his hand, you'll mess it up in yours. And a lot of people mess up because they're trying to work it out when God says, I'll work it out if you just give it to me. Touch your neighbor and say, give it to God. Give it. Give it. Help me preach it to your neighbor. Give it to God. Give it to God. Your hurts, give it to God. Your pains, give it to God. Because God said when you come to 37:12, he said not only come with invitation, but I want you to come simply to drop off your burden. I'm glad because I got some trash that I need to let go. Too many of us are carrying trash in the back of our trunk to try to hide our trash. But if you carry it long enough, it's beginning to stink to somebody else, but it won't stink to you. Can I help y'all? Can I help y'all with that? I never shall forget a long time ago, I had some trash put in my trunk. I wanted to put it in the trash can, but I forgot that it was in my trunk. I drove to work, and then I've been drive all the way through the city of Dallas with trash in my trunk. I had trash in my trunk, but then it started stinking, but I didn't know it was stinking. And the reason why I didn't know it was stinking is because I had been with it so long that I began to think about, I began to accept the smell, even though I didn't realize it was stinking in the car. It was only until somebody got in the car and said, it's stinking here. And I remember the reason why it stinks is because it's trash in the back of my trunk. Y'all ain't hear what I say. The reason why you stink is because you've been carrying too long trash in your trunk, and it's till somebody tell you got trash you won't get rid of. Touch your neighbor and say, I got to get rid of some stuff. Now, say it like you mean it. I got to get rid of some stuff. I got to get rid of my boo because he ain't